It's now time to hear from our chief guest, a change maker in his own right. Sir, may we have your keynote address?
Dr. Nirmala Lakshman, the chairperson of the Hindu group, Mr. Srinivasan, director, Hindu businessline, Governor Shaktikant Das, other winners, ladies and gentlemen. Let me first begin by congratulating the winners. While driving down here, I was reflecting on this whole issue of change makers, of people who made a difference, of organizations who made a difference. And what came to my mind was, that's only when you make a difference that you can actually say that you have justified your existence. That I have stood for something, I have done something which has made a difference. Whether it's for a few people, whether it's for a whole country. That is the satisfaction. That is, I think, the truest reward. And that is what you will always remember when the time comes to say goodbye. That's what you will always remember, that I made a difference. Now, more than any award, it's that satisfaction which I think is most important, which tells you that, yes, you justified your existence, in plain and simple words. The awards are important, of course, and I want to congratulate the Hindu businessline and the Hindu group for instituting these awards. They are important because even when we do something good, something which has made a difference, we would like to be recognized. Apart, of course, from the fact that we have the satisfaction of having done something which made lives better, we would like that to be recognized. And those who recognize good work, those who recognize good people, are actually contributing to that goodness. It's your contribution to good work. It's your contribution to people who matter. It's more your contribution to the world, that you are recognizing, you are standing with people who made a difference. And I think that that's great. I want to congratulate the Hindu and the Hindu business line for doing this. Now let's look at the Changemakers, which we met today. And I tell you, in some cases it was an eye-opener. When I heard the lady about, helping ladies build up careers. So this was the first time I heard about the possibility of a lady having guilt feelings for going out and achieving something because because of the feeling that I might somehow be neglecting my home or whatever. And can you imagine that? And can you imagine that burden? And can you imagine the fact that it is while bearing that burden that the women change makers, the lady change makers still work. They still make a difference. And they still go ahead in the world. And more of the ladies are going ahead in the world. But this was really an eye-opener. The Amul example. Now this is an example again which I have seen myself in my constituency. Our organization in my state is called ComFed, but it's patterned entirely on Amul and it works. I've been to villages distributing dividends. So all the profit which ComFed earns or Amul earns goes back to the farmers. So it really makes a difference. Dr. Shaktikant Das, even now, the developed world, let alone the developing world, the developed world has not really settled down and stabilized. They still are facing high levels of inflation. Their energy prices are still high. And here you have a country which emerged from COVID as the fastest growing large economy in the world. So we are the 5th largest economy in the world today. By 27, we'll be the 3rd largest economy in the world. Our rate of growth last year was about 7.5%. In the first quarter of 23-24, I believe it's almost 7.8% already. Now, so that's the rate of growth, and that also with stable, no inflation with stability, price stability. Now that's huge. The rate of growth continuing with price stability. Otherwise, you run the risk of inflation when you have such such great rates of growth. That again shows a management. That again shows balance. And again, I think that there the selection was just spot on. The financial aspects, the Jan Dhan account, it has made a huge difference, JAM. Now, at the push of a button, you give assistance to millions of people around the country without any intermediaries. And not only that, there are other initiatives which need to be recognized. For example, I see in my own constituency, the street vendors. We have a Swanidhi, the government of India has launched the Swanidhi program for street vendors, where the street vendors are first given a loan of 10,000 rupees without collateral. And then when he pays that back, he's given a loan of 20,000 rupees. When he pays that back, he's given a loan of 50,000 rupees. Now he uses that to buy the materials which he then vends. And all that procedure of buying that material and vending is digital. You'll come across street vendors who have that digital, that graphic which you aim at. And the digital transaction this has resulted is almost 1,04,000 crores. Can you believe that? And this has emerged also as a safety net for the street vendors. And this is a scheme which has really, really worked. When it was launched, people thought that it will end up in NPAs, etc. The NPAs have not happened. It works. It really works. And can you imagine that? You are touching the lowest rung, the street vendors. So these are the changes which are happening. They are happening all around us. And the fact that we are growing at 7.5% or 7.8% is because of those change makers. It's because of those innovative schemes. And because people had the courage to change. You need courage to change. You need courage to decide. But as somebody said, the only thing you have to fear is fear itself. And unless and until you have the courage to decide, you'll never really progress. And the change makers always are only those who have the courage to decide, who have the courage to do things. Now, in our country, there are many, many such examples. I'll tell you my own example, the power sector, for example. Now, can you believe it? That in the past about 9 years, incidentally, I became the Minister for Power in 2017, not 2019. I started off as Minister of State with independent charge for the Ministry of Power and the Ministry of New Renewable Energy. That's in 2017. So it's 6 years now, 6 years and a month since I've been here. But what we did was we transformed our country from power deficit to power surplus. Today, our established capacity is 425,000 megawatts. And we export electricity to Bangladesh, to Nepal. And when our government came to office, the power deficit in 2013 was about 4%. In 2011, it was almost about 11%. Today, the power deficit is zero. If there is any deficit, the 0.1% is because of system defects. We connected the whole country into one grid by adding 197,000 circuit kilometers, and now we can transfer 120,000 megawatts from one corner of the country to another. We strengthened the distribution systems by investing 210,000 crores. And we constructed 2,900 substations. We upgraded about 4,000 substations, added 8.5 lakh circuit kilometers of ST lines, LT lines, 750,000 transformers, etc. And the result of all that, end result of all that is that the availability of power in rural areas has gone up from about 12.5 hours in 2015 to about 22 hours today. That's in rural areas. That's the national average, mind you. And in urban areas, has gone up to 3 hours and about 23.4 hours or something like that. Almost 24 hours. We made generators history. That's our country. We ensured universal access by connecting every village, every home, and to 29 million homes, 2 crore 90 lakh homes we connected in 19 months. The International Energy Agency called it the largest expansion of access ever in the history of the power sector. And all this was because somebody had the courage to decide. And so the Prime Minister said that, okay, 1,000 days, let's connect every village, every hamlet. We did it in 987 days, 987 days. And then he said that, okay, now let's connect every home. Nobody had the courage before that to say that I will connect every home. Can you imagine that? And we are talking about how many years after independence? 75 years after independence. Even 75 years after independence, you did not have universal access till somebody stood up and said, let's go ahead and do it. And we did it. And we did it. And we took certificates from every state that they have connected every willing household. Then after that, some states came back and they said some houses have been left out. I said, go ahead and connect it. They connected that, and I took a revised certificate from them that, yes, we've connected every household. We've emerged as the fastest growing renewable energy capacity in the world. Today, my renewable energy capacity is 185,000 megawatts. That's 44% of my installed capacity. And when we started in 2015, at that time the Prime Minister had pledged, that's in 2015, mind you, when our renewable energy capacity was next to zilch, it was nothing. And he said that by 2022, I'll have 175 gigawatts of renewable energy capacity. Today my renewable energy capacity is 178 gigawatts. And I would have, this is 23, I would have achieved that in 2021 if COVID had not intervened. But, we got there. And we had pledged by that in COP21 in Paris that by 2030 we'll have 40% of our capacity coming from non-fossils. We achieved that in 2021, 9 years in advance. And today it's at 44%. So you need to decide. You need to decide. And if you decide and you go out and you say that, okay, I'll do it, you can do it. When I joined, the power sector was doddering. I had about 70,000, the megawatts under NCLT. There was a stress in the system. The outstanding dues of generation companies was about 135,000 crores, 135,000 crores. And the AT&C losses were 27%. All the discounts were impecunious. And today, we brought down the overdues from 135,000 crores to 60,000 crores. The current payments are all up to date. We are probably the only power system in the world where the current payments are all up to date totally. Why? We put in place a system whereby if the distribution company does not pay for the power, its connectivity to the exchange, power exchange goes off. It can't buy power from the exchange. So they started paying promptly. We said that, whatever payments you make will first go against the older dues. So we made installments for the older dues. So first you pay that installment, then you pay the current dues, and then your connectivity to the exchange remains. And it works. When we put that system into place, 13 discoms, they had to do load shedding. Then they all started paying. But now, the losses have come down from 27% to 14%. That is the AT&C loss of the country, 14%. And we thought that if we come down to 15%, it will be great. So we decided that we'll make it viable. We made it viable. We made it viable. And the legacy dues have come down to 60,000 crores, and all the installments are being paid in time. So wherever you are, the lesson is go ahead and decide. The lesson is go ahead and do it. And it can be done. You can emerge. We can emerge as world leaders. We emerged as world leaders in the renewable energy business, in the power sector. We emerged as world leaders. And that holds good for every sector in our country. We can emerge as world leaders. We are growing rapidly. We'll continue growing rapidly. And all that is because now people have started standing up in different corners of the country to be counted, to make a difference, and to really sort of do something which makes life better for their community, for their state, and for their country. So the number of those such people is growing. And it will continue growing, provided we get together off and on and recognize them. That's why this is important. What you are doing is important because of that. You will encourage more people to go out and make a difference. So congratulations, Sindhu. Congratulations, Sindhu Business Line. Incidentally, one of the reasons I agreed to come, because I find that 2 hours is a bit much. you know, if you have a constituency, so 2 or 3 days goes away in the constituency, then you have ministries. And so 2 hours is a bit much. But I said, Hindu, credibility. I think you have maintained your credibility over 150 years or something like that. I mean, that's great. And maintaining your credibility, your uprightness, your probity is great. And your language, of course, is great. So congratulations. Congratulations, Hindu. Congratulations, Hindu Business Line. Great work. And of course, congratulations to all the winners. You can really be proud of having done something which made a difference, and of course you can be proud of having been recognized. Congratulations to all of you.